So Cory Sandhagen got back into the win column with a big win over Song Yadong in the main event of UFC Vegas 60. Now, leading up to this fight, I made a prediction video where I mentioned that this was almost a situation where Sandhagen needed to get the victory given that he is currently in his prime and you wouldn't want a top bantamweight title contender to lose 3 fights in a row because that might have taken a hit on Sandhagen's confidence. After losses to Peter Yan and TJ Dillashaw in his last 2 fights, Sandhagen put together another solid performance in the octagon against Song Yadong, and it's like I previously said in my breakdown video, this man is never going to deliver a boring fight. And once again, the bantamweight division proved why it is regarded as quite possibly the most exciting division in the UFC today, because of the quality of the fights most of these fighters put in. With all that being said, let's just now get down to the Sandhagen versus Yadong breakdown and review. So, interestingly enough, in the first round, Sandhagen, who is of course known for his striking, took a sort of a grappling approach. I mean, immediately as the fight started, he went in for a takedown attempt and tried to keep himself busy in that clinch in the early seconds of the fight. But I will say this, that every time the two fighters took a stand-up approach in the first round, I think it was Yadong who was sort of getting the better of Cory in those striking exchanges. I mean, Yadong's strikes and shots were definitely a lot more cleaner in the first round compared to Sandhagen. And once again, this is something that I spoke about in my prediction video. Song Yadong has really crisp striking. And the timing of his shots is obviously a very beautiful thing to watch. And that's something he proved in the first round of this fight. But Sandhagen also connected with a lot of shots in that first round. But the thing is, he was sort of taking that volume striking approach, whereas he was connecting with more of his shots in the closer range, whereas Yadong was connecting more of those big shots. For instance, when he countered Sandhagen and connected with a big left hook in the first round itself. For me, I think the talking point from the first round itself has to be the fact that we saw a lot of grappling from Cory Sandhagen in this fight. Very close first round, and it was literally very hard for me to score this opening round itself because both fighters looked really good, and in just the scorecards, Yadong won that opening round, and I think that was the right call because defensively he looked really good in there. He stopped a lot of takedown attempts from Cory, connected with some very good shots as well. Round number two, and this is the round where I think we finally saw what Yadong is capable in terms of his massive power. I spoke about this before, saying that Yadong has to be one of the most powerful and hard-hitting bantamweights at the moment. I mean, the way he's capable of dropping some of these guys in this is just ridiculous. We saw him do that to Marlon Moraes in his last fight, and in the second round of this one, he once again connected with a good left hook that sort of wobbled Sandhagen for a second. You could clearly see him backing himself up against the fence, and the way Yadong was moving forward in that round was almost scary to witness because Sandhagen attempted another takedown, and here's the thing. The reason I believe we saw Cory take this grappling approach from time to time in this fight is simply because of the fact that Yadong is a pure striker, but he has a very good takedown defense, and his ability to instantly get back up to his feet from that takedown position is also very, very impressive. So for Cory Sandhagen, I think he already has a lot of room for improvement in terms of his takedowns. And as far as the second round was concerned, Yadong was just bleeding all over the place. I mean, the way the blood was pouring from the top of his left eye was just straight out of a horror movie. I mean, I would say that we were sort of lucky that this fight didn't get stopped in the second round itself. The issue for Yadong from here onwards was obviously the fact that the blood was going all into his eye, but this guy was just like an absolute zombie. The way he marched forward while smiling at Cory was just a sight to behold. But even after that cut, Yadong wasn't slowing down. The way he landed some of those combinations in round two was highly impressive as well. But yeah, round number two, very close as well. I do want to say that Sandhagen won that round, but again, I cannot be 100% sure, but props to the doctor for not letting this fight, get called off. Round three, and once again, early on, we saw Sandhagen struggle with his takedown. Yadong was really good when it came to his takedown defense, and it was round number three they actually showed that stat of Yadong having 100% takedown defense accuracy. He stuffed all eight takedown attempts from Sandhagen up until that point in the third round. So yeah, here's the thing about Song Yadong though. He has such good striking, like you could see the way he swung at Cory throughout this fight, and with the power he has in those hands, Yadong is certainly capable of knocking out any bantamweight, and his head movement was also on display here. And in round three, we saw Cory struggle to connect with some of his shots, courtesy of Yadong's brilliant head movement. Round three is where I think things actually took a turn for Cory Sandhagen, and the actual Cory Sandhagen turned up. And by that, I mean the fighter that we had seen against Peter Yan and TJ Dillashaw in the past, because Cory was more composed in this round. He wasn't rushing in because every time he tried to showcase signs of urgency, Yadong obviously got the better of him with his striking. In the third round, though, Sandhagen dodged some of those shots quite nicely, and he was really starting to inflict further damage on that cut above Yadong's eye. And those short exchanges were quite beneficial for for Cory Sandhagen as well, because he ended up catching Yadong with a good knee strike on that spot. But yeah, the third round I would say was the most comprehensive round of this fight so far, with Sandhagen taking it with a 10-9 score. Round number four, and this was indeed the final round of this fight before it was called off by a doctor stoppage. Now, at this point, I think it was honestly more about Yadong's nasty cut compared to everything that was going on in the fight, because I believe there was this certain anticipation from everyone that this fight was indeed going to get stopped at any moment. But honestly, this is what I love about Cory Sandhagen. We saw something similar against Peter Yan, where you could say that Cory got dominated in the early bits of that interim title fight between him and Yan, and he sort of turned up in the latter rounds. And this is exactly what happened here. In the fourth round, Sandhagen, in my opinion, looked a lot better compared to the first and second round. There were zero cardio issues for him in the only championship round that took place in this fight, and he was picking his shots quite nicely as well. And that's not something we saw him do in the first and second round of this fight. At this point, the amount of damage Sandhagen had put on Yadong was just brutal to witness, I think. I mean, he probably could have finished this fight if it had gone to the fifth round, or he could have, been the favorite to win via a decision. But nonetheless, Yadong's toughness, man, that is something that is just off the charts. I mean, he proved that he's well capable of hanging in there with the top bantamweights at times. He did take Cory Sandhagen to his limits as well, and in all honesty, Yadong never got knocked out, nor did the fight go the distance. So we don't exactly know what the result might have been if it had gone the entire 5 rounds. He did lose via the doctor stoppage, so who knows? Maybe he could have pulled off the win in the fifth round. But overall, once again, all of this has to be a very good learning experience for Song Yadong. I mean, he's just 24 and he's the future of this bantamweight division. I mean, he is younger than the likes of Sean O'Malley and Adrian Yanez, who are among the best strikers in the bantamweight division right now. So yeah, fans need to watch out for someone like Song Yadong, because this guy has a ton of potential to be a future champion. I mean, I was getting those Korean zombie vibes from him, to be honest, because we've seen Zombie in some absolute wars over the years, and the way we saw Song Yadong smiling back at Cory Sandhagen while he was bleeding so brutally from the cut that he got above his left eye, that was just pure vibes, man. Those just pure TKC vibes. It'll be really interesting to see who he goes on to fight next. And as for Cory Sandhagen, congratulations to him on this win and for getting back to the win column. But obviously, he has to make a lot of improvements here and there to sort of, make it known that yes, he's actually meant to be a title contender in this division right now, that he can hang in there with the best fighters in the bantamweight division. Because honestly, there were a few moments in this fight where Sandhagen struggled, especially in those opening rounds. I keep on bringing that up. He needs to work a lot more on his takedowns as well. But at the end of the day, it's like I said, Cory Sandhagen's resiliency is off the charts. He's probably the most resilient fighter in this bantamweight division for me, and this guy is never out of a fight up until the fight is actually over. So yeah, credits to Sandhagen for this big victory, and we shall see what the UFC has in store next for the Sandman. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Sandhagen versus Yadong review video. I mean, highly, highly, highly entertaining fight, highly recommendable. Hopefully, we get a full 5 round fight at some point later down the road. I mean, Sandhagen is 30. He'll be and he's in his prime at the moment. He'll be hoping to challenge for the title once again down the road. Song Yadong has a long way to go. I believe he'll get a top 10 opponent for his next fight. He should get a top 10 opponent because, you know, he didn't really lose this fight because he wasn't never knocked out. The fight did not go the distance. So we don't know for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this review video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the UFC Fight Night event that took place earlier today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this incredible bantamweight main event. I mean, the bantamweights always, always, always deliver. So yeah, hopefully you guys also drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more MMA related content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.